Joy fills every.
Welcome to the Brahma Kumaris, where a new world is opened up for you. From humble beginnings in India in 1936 to a global organization with over 8,000 centers in 110 countries and 1 million students worldwide. Through their tireless commitment, passionate heart, and determined spirit, the Brahma Kumaris arrived in America in 1974 and have since grown to 35 main centers throughout America. There are also 2 residential retreat centers, Peace Village, located in upstate New York, and Anubhuti, located in Novato, California.
I want to just share a little bit about how the centers of Raj Yoga meditation began in United States. Actually, I was in Caribbean islands and I got invitation from New York that we want to start something about meditation. And it was in 1978 I came here and we rented a very small apartment in Astoria. And from there I found that a lot of people have interest. I realized that there is so much need, and from there onwards then centers started in many other states.
Our centers are safe spaces where you can explore the power of your inner world.
The classes are conducted in many homes, many cities all over across the United States. A lot of people, they learn meditation, they use it, that meditation, at their workplace, in their family, and also I find that children, young adults, because they are so much into like what really is the life about.
The Brahma Kumaris are dedicated to personal and global transformation through the study and spiritual practice of Raj Yoga meditation. And at the heart of our teaching is the belief that the pathway to peace and happiness is to remember our original nature as spiritual beings connected to the One Source. In 1981, the organization received recognition as an international non-governmental organization affiliated with the United Nations and accredited with general consultative status with the Economic and Social Council. From organizing large-scale global initiatives to local community programs, the Brahma Kumaris has a tradition of service in every field that fosters spiritual growth among individuals from all backgrounds, cultures, and walks of life.
I hold on to this vision, the world of love, world of peace and harmony, world which is free from conflict and sorrow, where we can live as brothers, one family, children of common parents, one supreme divine power.
This is your invitation to awaken and join us in creating a world of love, peace, and kindness. Om Shanti.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Meditation Museum. How many of you, this is your first time here? Well, a special welcome to you. You've come to a very special place. This is a museum about you. It's a museum about the inward journey, about discovering everything that's beautiful within you and learning to nurture that and connect with that. And also learning to let go of anything that we're holding on to that disconnects us from that beautiful part of ourselves. This museum is run by the Brahma Kumaris, which is a worldwide organization. We have over 9,000 meditation centers around the world in 130 countries. But this museum and its sister museum in Tyson's are the only meditation museums in that network of 9,000 centers. Here in Washington, we wanted this to have a special feel. And Washington certainly is a city of museums, isn't it? Yeah. And museums, you don't have to be a member. You don't have to make an appointment. You can just come. And we wanted this place to feel the same way. So my name is David, and I am happy to be your host this evening. We have a very special program for you. And so I don't forget everything I'm supposed to say. With Sister Antonia here, you never are to doubt what you're supposed to say, because she tells you everything that you're supposed to say. So you'll forgive me if I look at this to make sure that I don't miss anything. So who knows what today is? Dadi Prakashmani Day. Who knows who Dadi Prakashmani is? Dadi Prakashmani was the leader of the Brahma Kumaris for how many years, Sister Jenna? Yeah. So she was leader from 1969 until 2007, till 2007, and under her leadership, the Brahma Kumaris grew to a worldwide organization. And in 1999, she came to Washington. And on that day, in honor of her visiting Washington, the mayor proclaimed that Dadi Prakashmani Day. And so that felt very special to us. And because of that, every year on that day, we've had some special project or special program. And we have a special program for you tonight. We have with us tonight a very special guest who I've been getting to know over the last few days. I was just up in our retreat center in upstate New York last week, and we had a retreat, a men's retreat there. And Yogesh Sharda was one of the featured speakers, and he's here with us today. Yogesh is, let me share with you a little bit about Yogesh, then I'll share with you some personal things that I've observed about him in the last few days. But he's a personal development trainer, and he has been a workshop facilitator for over 20 years, and he's presented hundreds of workshops and forums and courses for businesses, hospitals, and universities, youth organizations, and community groups. And he's keen to bridge cultures and generations and beliefs, systems. Yogesh promotes and participates in the organizing and running of conferences and events to deliver the message of spirituality as the basis of evolution of humanity. Yogesh is currently based in Turkey, in Istanbul, and he is responsible for the Brahma Kumaris centers in all throughout Turkey. He was sent there. The leader of the Brahma, one of the leaders of the Brahma Kumaris at that time, Dadi Janki, 20 years ago, was speaking to him, and you said, "How would you feel about going to Turkey?" And he was currently at Oxford in the UK. And he tells me that he said, he thought about it for a second and said, okay. And it was supposed to be just for 3 months, but he's wound up being there for 20 years. It's been really wonderful getting to know him. He is a wonderful example of someone who's really imbibed this spiritual knowledge that we share here at the Meditation Museum. And a wonderful example for how to live as a man using that spiritual knowledge, and also how to share that. He's given us some wonderful classes that I really enjoyed, some wonderful exercises too. And I think he's going to do some fun stuff with us today. So it gives me great pleasure to invite Yogesh Sharda to the stage and enjoy the program this evening.
So, hello, good evening everyone. I've been here 2 days and leaving tomorrow, and it's been a great joy to get to know some of you here, and also I had the chance this afternoon for a quick whistle-stop tour of the city. And a big thanks to David for the introduction. He has set the bar rather high, so I'm hoping to fulfill any expectations that he may have created. I've met some of you in the last couple of days. Can I just ask who's here for the first time with myself? Okay, so I think I can do the same jokes again. I hope you laugh anyway. So as was mentioned, I've been in this study and this practice of meditation, Raja Yoga meditation, with the BK, with the Brahma Kumaris for most of my life. I was around 8 or 9 years old when, through my parents, I started attending the center in the east of London. And one of the things that became clear to me is that each person has two lives. You know, we have our outer life of our family, career, travel, and so on. But also then there is the inner life of our thoughts, our feelings, our perceptions, our beliefs, etc. And I feel that people give more attention to the outer life than they do to the inner life. And a result of this imbalance, we have these stresses that we have in the world today, whether those stresses are in personal relationships or even on the global level. So my feeling is the call of time is it's time to take care of the inner self. Certainly the challenges that swirl around us in life today seem to be coming thicker and faster. But in order to deal with those, we have to know how to make ourselves stronger on the inside. And I'll be focusing partly on this today, and also looking at why meditation is an important part of that process to live a life of calm and to be able to manage the anxieties that we may face. Can I ask who here already does some kind of meditation? Any kind of meditation? All right, and who here is a meditator? And who is wondering what is the difference between these two? Yeah. Well, many people do meditation as a way to de-stress, to feel calm, to handle the challenges of life, and that can be enough for a person. But to be a meditator means it's a lifestyle. And that means as you go through day-to-day life, one part of you is naturally aware and checking, what is my mind doing? Am I thinking too much? Am I wasting this precious, precious energy of thought power? Why? Because meditators understand the most precious and powerful energy we have is the power of our thoughts. And indeed, I would go so far to say that your whole life is a reflection of how you are choosing to spend your thought energy. Now that's bad news and good news. The bad news, the bad news is there's actually no one to blame at the end of the day. The good news is change or improvement in my life starts with me. It's in my own hands. If we could see our thoughts and see how much we waste, we may be rather startled at how poorly we manage our thought energy. But there is great potential for each of us to improve this. Now think, for example, of an athlete who wishes to win the gold medal in the Olympics. Now for her or for him, eating healthy is a lifestyle. Such a person will naturally be aware what I eat, when I eat, how much I eat. Because for such a person, maintaining optimum weight is vital. In the same way, to be a meditator is like being a mental athlete. We know that in order to cope well with life, in order to maintain my happiness, my peace of mind, to have a calm life, I must take care of the thoughts my mind is producing. And so one of the things we learn in order to live a life of calm is to create a thought economy and also a word economy. Let us be more essence-full in our words and also in our thoughts. For example, if instead of using 100 words to explain something to someone, if I can say the same thing in, let's say, 70 words, I have saved the energy of 30 words. If instead of having 100 thoughts about something, the same thing I can think about in 30 thoughts, I've saved the energy of 70 thoughts. The energy that we save by doing this accumulates in the mind as something called the power of silence. And when the mind is silent and steady, it is able to maintain its calmness even when there are onslaughts from the outside. So we'll be looking at two main things we need to pay attention to in order to manage and deal with anxieties, but also to live a life of calm. And that's what we focus on here, not just to feel calm now and then, but how to make it into a lifestyle. I'm going to use the board also to help me to explain some ideas. So let's start with this. Now, in order to live a life of calm, it requires a person to be intelligent. So, are you intelligent? No takers there. All right, it's one of those words which is evolving in meaning. And like many words, they change and evolve in meaning. So here are 4 types of intelligence which I think are necessary for successful and happy living today. The most basic one, which we all know of is, of course, the person's IQ. And as you know, that stands for rational intelligence, logic, reason, analysis, and so on. And for many years, this was the only intelligence that people really talked about. And it was a way to measure how well a person would do in academic life and in career. If somebody scored high on an IQ test, we would say she or he is very intelligent. But this is no longer enough for successful living today. Next one up is known as this IC. And IC stands for a person's intuitive capacity. And that is your ability to tap into and access your own inner wisdom. Now, every person, every human being, every soul has an inner wisdom. But for the most part, we do not listen to it. And the reason is because the mind is too noisy. Chattering, chattering, chattering all the time. Most people are physically in one place, but mentally somewhere else. You may be sitting here looking at me, but you might be thinking, what should I have for dinner tonight? Anyone doing that? Not today. But to be physically, mentally, emotionally, at the same time, at the same place is quite rare. And since the mind is so noisy, trying to listen to the inner wisdom is like trying to listen to a voice in the storm. And this is where meditation is extremely useful, because it makes the mind quiet. When the mind is quiet, you can listen to your own self. And you can allow that inner wisdom to guide you in your daily decision making. So what I'd like to do before we go further is to share with you a little exercise which may be useful for you in your practical lives about making the body and the mind calm fairly quickly. Would you like to do this? All right, okay. So if I could ask you to have your back straight and your feet flat on the floor. If you're holding something, just feel free to put it down for now. Do make sure your electronic baby is sleeping or is silent. They go off suddenly. Okay, you can just allow your hands to rest gently on your legs if that's okay for you. When we visualize, then we tend to close the eyes. If that's comfortable for you, then please do so. And I'll just take you through this simple reflection, this creative visualization, which is called the quiet room of peace. And so, sitting comfortably, I choose to spend these next few moments to relax the body and to relax the mind. For these next few moments, let me be with myself. And so just bring your attention in towards yourself. Bring your attention up towards your face. And bring your attention to the center of your forehead. And here at the center of your forehead, picture a small room. And this tiny room in the center of your forehead is your quiet room of peace. Just visualize this very pleasant, quiet room of peace in the center of the forehead. And this is your private and personal space. And when you are inside your quiet room, you feel very relaxed. This is the place where you can be yourself. Inside your quiet room, you are safe, secure. You can let go of the daily roles and responsibilities that you have. You are free from the pressures and the demands of the outside world. And you can drop the masks that you wear in daily life. Feel the peace and the wonderful silence of your quiet room. And just allow your mind to absorb this energy, this atmosphere of serenity, tranquility. And as you do so, the thoughts begin to slow down. The mind becomes quiet, calm, relaxed, peaceful, and free. Just be with this feeling of peace in your mind for 1 minute. And now, gently, I return to the awareness of this room here. And when you feel ready, you can just open your eyes. Okay, how do you feel? Feel a bit more calm, more relaxed? Okay, so I think that's the end of the program. Thanks for coming. Of course, feeling like this in the gathering of such souls, such minds is one thing, But maintaining this out there in the traffic, in the office, at home, in the shopping mall, that's the real challenge. And so for that we have to look at our lifestyle. And here are some suggestions that help to build a life of calm. The first thing I would say is to do with waking up in the morning. In our world of technology, we instantly engage with machines, we engage with people. But I think a healthy thing to do is when you wake up in the morning, first engage with yourself before you engage with life. It's a challenge, especially in big cities, where I believe that lifestyle is quite disrespectful to the mind. So when one wakes up in the morning, first be with the self, be in the quiet room, or just dwell in the thought, I am a peaceful being, I am a peaceful soul. Dwell in that thought for a few moments, a couple of minutes, before you do anything. It's like recharging your soul battery. And I use this little symbol with the 3 fingers, that when I wake up in the morning, first engage with the self. Remind myself I am a spiritual energy, I am a peaceful soul. Then comes this one, which represents the second thing to do, and that is just to refresh and remind myself of my personal connection with the higher source, with the divine being, the one that we call the ocean of peace, the ocean of love, the ocean of joy. Just spend a few moments feeling that sense of personal connectedness. And then comes the third thing, which is the third finger, which is then other people, family, news, traffic, the weather, etc. And I believe if we live in this way, then we are setting ourselves up to manage and own our peace and happiness throughout the day. Consider this question: who owns your happiness? Who owns your peace? It should be mine. It should be mine, non-negotiable. But the way most of us live in the big cities is we forget the first two. And we wake up in the morning and immediately we start engaging with life. And so the foundation is missing. Now think of any building you construct. Before you go up, first you have to go down. Build firm foundations. And if the foundation is strong, then if there is a tremor or an earthquake, the building can remain steady. In the same way, before starting the day, first build the foundation of the mind. Experience peace. Experience that wonderful silence. And that will support you for the rest of the day. It's in the day that challenges come. It's in the day somebody cuts you up in the street or, turns into your lane without indicating. It's in the day that suddenly the plans change at work. And so there, one has to be in a state of readiness to respond to the challenges of the day. And if I've done that inner work in the morning, then during the day, the building of my peace and happiness can remain steady, even when there are challenges. Now, it is said, is it not, that if a person is having a bad day, they may say, I must have got out of the wrong side of the bed. Same here. Which is an indication that the day started off incorrectly, and that's influencing the rest of the day. But the opposite is also true. If I start the day off right, the rest of the day is positively influenced. So that's one suggestion. Second thing is, as I mentioned earlier, challenges come in the day. Trying to stop at least 2-3 times if possible for about 3 minutes or so to visit that quiet room. And we call this as traffic control for the mind. Now, just as you have cars in the street, imagine the thoughts in your mind are like traffic. And the question arises, how is the traffic up here? Is it flowing smoothly? Is it orderly? Is it coordinated? Or is there a traffic jam in my mind? Am I thinking about, I need to do this tomorrow, I should have done that yesterday, have to call this person, mustn't forget that? Are my thoughts going in different directions at the same time and creating a traffic jam? Do you have traffic problems here in Washington? You do. Try coming to Istanbul. Then you will know what is traffic problem. And what I've noticed in some places where I am, some people consider road signs and traffic lights to be nothing more than a suggestion. And so you have lots of people going in different directions at the same time with their own rules as well. And we know that one car in the wrong place can block 100 other cars. So how much time, energy, money is wasted? In the same way, one waste thought, one negative thought, can block the flow of my happiness, my creativity, my positivity. So why to go for the whole day in that condition? Have a traffic control practice, go to the quiet room and clear that waste thought. And then when you come back into your meeting or your work or whatever you're doing, you are there with a clear head. You are there with a calm mind. So that's the second suggestion. And try and fix times that you can manage every day according to your own schedule. It may be, for example, 10:30, maybe 12:30, maybe 2:30. Choose times that work for you, but then try to maintain that every day and experiment for 1 week. See how that feels. Third thing to do is to know how to end the day properly. Now, in the olden days, parents used to read a bedtime story to children. Does that still happen? Yeah, maybe in some cases. And there is some wisdom there. The wisdom was, if the child hears a nice story, a pleasant story, he or she will have pleasant dreams. You wouldn't read a horror story to a child, would you? The same way the mind is your child, it also deserves to be put to sleep well. Think of how you shut down a computer at the end of the day. Do you just pull the plug? If you do that, then the next morning the computer will punish you. It says, you didn't shut me down properly, now we have to wait while we do some checks and some scans and so on. And what's odd, just on this point, is, when you're signing into something, the computer asks you, tick this box to prove you are not a robot. A machine is asking a human, prove to me you're not a robot. Isn't it interesting? But when we shut down the computer, you sign out, you log off, you switch off. There are steps involved. It's the same with the mind, that when you go to sleep at night, then one thing I was told when I was a kid, and I found it very useful, is you just consider that whatever happened in the theatre of life today is over for today. Whether I did something amazing or I did something ridiculous, whether I was successful or I failed, whether I was praised or I was criticized, but for today, the curtain is closed. multiply everything by 0, empty the mind of the thoughts of the day, let the mind become light, and then go to sleep. The mind deserves this kind of care and attention. Then the sleep is deep and restful. Otherwise, what happens, the mind continues to process the things of the day, and usually the first thought of the next morning is connected to the last thought of the night before. I think, we had this kind of wisdom more in the past, but we've lost touch with it. We've become so busy in the world of doing and having and achieving that we've forgotten these basic things of how to care for the mind. After all, I believe that life is the ultimate mind game. Just as it is said, sports is a mind game, business is a mind game, politics is a mind game. Life is a mind game. It was said by Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your mind. In India they say, Man jeet, jagat jeet, which means if you conquer your mind, you conquer the world. But the way we live today is we tend to focus upon the world rather than on the mind. And as a result of this, we generate lots of unnecessary thoughts, which then challenges our peace and our calmness. Okay, let's just finish these intelligences. By the way, is this making sense to you so far? Is it useful to apply in life? Okay, next one up. Again, this is a common one. I'm sure everybody's very aware. I'm right-handed, by the way, so I can't go around here. EQ, as you know, is emotional intelligence, and that stands for your ability to understand and manage your own emotions, and also to be able to understand how other people are feeling. If you can do the first, then you can do the second. If you can manage your own mind and emotions, then you can understand how others are feeling. And this is an essential skill in relationships, whether it's at work or it's at home. So let's look at one's own mind, for example. Think of a bad mood. How long does your bad mood last? How long is the average Washington bad mood? A few minutes? A couple of hours? As long as it stops there, that's okay. But what happens when one is in a bad mood, then, I'm useless to myself and I'm useless to others. And it's like there is a sign here saying, don't talk to me today. Not in the mood. Don't make jokes, I won't laugh. And so then people find it difficult to communicate with me if I'm in that mood. People find it difficult to bounce ideas off me. And in the world of work, then others have to wait until I recover before I am useful once again. Now we all sometimes, get a bit irritated, a little bit annoyed, or just get knocked off center. But what's important is how quickly I can raise myself up again. And that's an emotional intelligence skill, is to make myself useful once again, regain my self-respect, my peace of mind, my happiness. If I can do that, then I can understand how others are feeling and adjust myself accordingly when I'm interacting with others. Then there is the highest of all, sometimes considered to be a combination of the other three. Now, what do you think this might be? Yeah. Spiritual intelligence. And that stands for two particular things. One is your sense of identity. In other words, how are you answering the question, who am I? And the second is a sense of purpose in your life. And these two things are, I feel, at the very core of a quality and meaningful human life. To know who I am and why I am doing what I am doing. Now this question, who am I, we are all answering it, sometimes consciously, but all the time subconsciously. And the answer I give to that question, who am I, that is determining how I deal with life. As it has been beautifully said, you don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you are. According to who you think you are is how you will see situations in your life, praise, criticism, success, failure, and also your relationship with the things that happen in the world. And second thing, purpose. Why am I doing whatever I am doing? Why do I get out of bed in the mornings? Why do I battle with the traffic every day? Where am I going? And I found that people who have a high SQ, there are two signs I have noticed in them. One is such people, they own their motivation. There's two types of motivation. One is called as emotional motivation. That's where a person gets very happy, very excited, very quickly, but then it also evaporates quickly. For example, somebody says to you, okay, I'll give you a company car. I'll give you more money. I'll give you your own office. So like soda water, that enthusiasm, motivation bubbles up, but it doesn't last very long. But the other kind of motivation, we call that spiritual motivation or inner motivation. And that motivation is in my own hands, and it stays with me even if I pass through failure, adversity, criticism. And it's not just for work, it's for the whole of life. It's like the red thread which carries you through all the scenes and scenarios of life. So that's one sign, owning your motivation. Second thing I have noticed in such people is they have a very deep-seated sense of contentment. They don't lose their contentment no matter what happens. And these are the rewards of doing this inner work, of exploring my identity and my sense of purpose. Now, it seems to me that generally as human beings we are passing through a global identity crisis. I think that's at the core of all the anxieties that there are in the world. And if we address who am I, it's the beginning of the answer to everything, whether it's in my life or it's in the global context. So these four intelligences to explore, and I believe that this was what leads us to emerging our hidden abilities and to be able to manage our minds as we pass through the challenges of life. So, as I mentioned earlier, two things we're looking at tonight. One is managing your inner power, and for that meditation, visualization, and the daily timetable. Second thing which we need to look at in order to live a life of calm is to do with vision. So let me put this up here. So, question. What do you see? Sorry?
A snail.
Snail. Okay, yeah, a snail.
Fibonacci spiral.
Spiral.
I know it's the opposite.
All right. Anything else? We just had one of those before we came. Could be a fingerprint. Sometimes people say fingerprint.
A journey.
That's a beautiful one. A journey. I haven't heard that before. A journey. A labyrinth. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. Sometimes people say, I see the universe. Yeah. So I think between fingerprint and universe, you get pretty much everything else. Yeah. But, there is a but. All the answers you gave about what this could represent, what it could mean, what it could perhaps become, all the answers you gave are about this. Now, nobody said there is also this available, empty, unused, white space also over here. Your eyes went immediately to this. I did not ask, what did I draw? I asked, what do you see? Okay? Now, because your eyes went to this, your creative thinking went into what this might be. What you see is what you will think about. What you think about will influence how you feel. And how you feel will determine how you behave, how you live, how you respond. Now, this is just an example of our physical eyes. But the point I'm making here is to do with the eye of your mind. As you pass through day-to-day life, many things will come in front of you. Sometimes there are people with you who are similar to you, like. Sometimes there are people with the opposite personality to you, and you have to work with them. Sometimes you are praised. Sometimes you are criticized. Sometimes things go as planned. Sometimes they go opposite to as planned. All kinds of things happen. But amidst all of that, what is important and what is your choice is what you choose to see in that. And I cannot emphasize this enough. This is so important. As is the saying in the Hindi language, Jaisi aapki drishti, vaisi aapki srishti. Did you get that? Which means, as is your vision, so is your world. As is your vision, so is your world. You may not be able to control what comes in front of you, but you can control what you choose to see in that. You may not be able to control what life is bringing to you, but you can control how you choose to receive it. Yeah? Why this is important? Because my vision influences how I feel about things. And the question then arises, can I see differently? Can I upgrade my vision? I believe the simplest and most beautiful definition of spirituality is an upgrade in my attitude and my vision. I'm living in the same world, the same house, the same family, the same job, the same office, but yet my vision and attitude is upgrading, and I experience life to be very different when those two things are upgraded. Now, how to do that? Let's have a look at the next model. All right? So this shows us that we are all surrounded If I fall off, please do catch me, won't you? Yeah. Okay, we are all surrounded by events. And events are just the things happening around us. An event could be it's a rainy day, it's a sunny day. These are just events. An event could be, somebody talks to you, somebody ignores you. Everything happening around us are simply events. And there's not much you can do about the events which are outside of you. But here is what we do. We give meaning to those events. The meaning is individual. So for example, something could happen right here in front of all of us. It's one event. But each person can give individual meaning to it. For me, it could be something pretty bad. For somebody else, it could be a big disaster. For a third person, it could be embarrassing. For somebody else, it's hilarious, the funniest thing they've ever seen. So the event is one, but the meaning each is giving from their own mind. And why this is important is because the meaning that you give to events is generating your emotional state. That's how the sequence works. First, something happens. Second, you give meaning to it. Third is the emotions that are generated, how you are feeling about it. But this happens very, very quickly. So, do you agree? First event, then meaning, then emotion. Yes, but we don't live like this. We live under an illusion. The illusion we live under is we think that the event directly generates my emotions. So we say things like, you know what so-and-so said today makes me very angry. Or I am very upset because of such and such a thing. Or I am very irritated because you behaved like this. I am very worried because of X, Y, Z. But the truth is, no. You're not angry because of what somebody said. You're angry because of the meaning you are giving to what he or she said. You're not upset because of something which happened. You're upset because of the meaning you are giving to what happened. That's generating your emotions. But the thing is, the giving of meaning to the event and the generation of the emotion happens so fast, so quickly, we don't realize it. And what we think has happened is event has happened, emotion generated. Now, again, this is both bad news and good news for us. The bad news is there is no one to blame for your negative emotions. So sorry about that. There's no one to blame for your bad mood. But the good news is exactly the same. That is, my emotions are entirely in my hands if I choose for this to be so. The thing to do is I have to stop trying to control the events, stop trying to consume the events, and rather work on owning the meaning and upgrading the meaning I am giving to the events. That's the work of living a life of calm or living a life of awareness. How can I upgrade the meaning I'm giving to the events? Now, the question arises, what is meaning composed of? What is behind meaning? What is the meaning of meaning? Yeah? There are three main things. I won't go into all three of them, but maybe just one. How are we doing for time over there? All right, yeah, all right. Okay. Okay, let's look at one of them. So one of the things which gives rise to meaning is in the next model. I think I'll ask for an assistant next time. Okay, so let's say this here. Right, let's put it like this. Let's say here, this represents your perspective. Okay, in other words, the position from which you are seeing something. And here your perspective is high or open. And here your perspective is low or it's closed. So let's say there is some situation in your life, something that you need to deal with, something maybe bigger than you. And when your perspective is low, then this is how you are seeing things. This here represents the eye of your mind. When perspective is low, you see that situation or that person as a problem. Now, when you see someone or something as a problem, how would you feel? What might you feel as a result of that? Negative, you may be upset, you may be worried, there may be some tension, anxiety, it may affect your sleep, etc. So when you become problem conscious, then this will eat away at your peace and your calmness. If you were to then raise your perspective and you say to yourself, okay, this is a situation, I need to deal with it, but I choose not to see it as a problem. I choose instead to see this as an obstacle. Now, what's the difference between a problem and an obstacle? Yeah. When you see something as a problem, then you're focusing on the thing. Why is this here? This is in my way. I can't go further. When you see the same thing as an obstacle, you ask, how can I get over this? How can I find a way around this? So the focus is not on the person or the situation, the focus is on me. Now, just like children, have obstacle courses in school, you run through something, you jump over something, you crawl through something, and it develops your muscle groups. In the same way, for one who is self-aware or spiritually aware, you find that life sometimes presents you with an obstacle course. And obstacles come in all wonderful shapes and sizes, especially in the form of difficult people. Do you have at least one difficult person in your life? Is that person here in this room? Is that person within the 2-meter radius of you? But for all of us, we find certain people, situations difficult. And the thing to do is to ask myself, what do I need to learn in order for this to no longer be a problem or an obstacle? We do say, don't we, that so-and-so is very good at pushing my buttons. there's usually one person in your life who is a world expert at pushing your buttons. It's as though they have been strategically dropped into your life just to irritate you. So how to stop someone from pushing your buttons? What to do? Yeah, because usually what happens when somebody pushes your button, you look for theirs to push back, no? So you get lost in this button pushing contest. Yeah. These are the answers. We could do it the British way. We could say, "Excuse me, can you please not push my buttons?" But this probably won't bring long-lasting results. But the only real solution, as some of you have mentioned, is I learn to deactivate my buttons. I learn to not react. I learn to not take the bait. I learn to develop self-control. So next time somebody pushes, there's no reaction. Now what happens if you go into a lift, you push the button, and it doesn't work? What would you do? You may push all of them. Yeah. But if none of the buttons work, it gives you a message, take the stairs. And so you come out and you take the stairs. The same way, if I learn to own the way I feel, if I develop self-control, it gives a non-verbal message to the other: you can no longer upset me. You can no longer make me angry. But it has to be non-verbal. Do not tell the person. And the only way to change the way someone behaves towards you is to raise your self-esteem. Self-esteem includes self-control. Learning to own my peace, own my happiness. And that's one of the main messages of the spiritual life, is continue to raise your self-esteem as you go through life. In fact, don't just go through life, but grow through life. Use situations to make you grow, evolve, and mature spiritually and emotionally. Let's just finish this one off. So as you continue to raise your perspective, same thing now, same situation now you see as an opportunity. Here is an opportunity for me to express and use what I'm learning. And I believe the highest of all learnings, the highest of all studies, is the study and the research of virtue. That's what we need to learn. To overcome any obstacle, I need to work on virtue. In some situation, I need patience. With another person, I need forgiveness. Somewhere else, I have to let go. With another person, I need courage. The more virtue I imbibe within myself, the more easily I can cross obstacles. Then you see the same situation as an opportunity to practice virtue. These are called our spiritual muscles. The muscles of the soul are the virtues you develop in yourself. And furthermore, as you continue to raise perspective, same thing you see as a test. Do you like tests? No? Well, when we're at school, we don't like tests usually. But tests are useful for me to know what I know and what I need to work on. You take your car for a test, don't you? They check the oil, they check the wipers. You take your body for a test, which is called a health checkup. They see if something is okay or something is not working. In the same way, for one who is spiritually aware, sometimes life throws a test at you. I may think I'm a very honest person. How do I know until a situation tests me. I may think I'm Mr. Humble, but how to know until something happens to test that level of humility? So the test is only for me to know myself. And so when I'm seeing it like that, I'm not afraid of it, not running away from it, but using it to know myself better. And then comes the final stage. What does the problem eventually change into? It could be any of these. I like the word that the word somebody said. It becomes a gift. Which means that I gain something through that. I received something. And gifts again come in various forms. Some gifts come very beautifully wrapped. Nice gold paper, red ribbon, and you open it and inside, nothing useful. Yeah? Other gifts come badly wrapped, tatty, unattractive. But just a moment, open the gift and inside maybe a real diamond for you. So too, there are people who have passed through major adversity in life, major accident or health issues. They come out of it and they say, it was like a gift for me. I learned so much. It opened my eyes. Those are extreme cases. But the same principle happens in our life too. I may not be able to control what is happening, but I can control how I choose to see it. And if I raise my vision, my perspective, I'm giving different meaning to the situation. Well, the meaning is different, the way I feel is different. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of what I wanted to share. And there's maybe just a few minutes for anything anybody wants to say or ask or add or subtract. Yeah.
What if there are events that have meaning regardless of how you feel about it? And you're trying to ascertain the meaning outside of yourself, and this has nothing to do with me. And it's not an obstacle to it's something to comprehend, to perceive. Not every event is just you having a response to it.
Okay, could you maybe give an example of?
Well, there's a lot going on.
I'm wondering, can people hear at the back? Okay. You take this. Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm been following the political news a lot, and I've been examining my own responses to what's going on. And I
Sorry,
have
could
my
you bring it a
thoughts.
bit closer to you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm not used to this. I've had some health issues. I've had a lot of time to follow the news. And, we've all been dealing with what's happening in America in the election of this president. So I've been following the news and monitoring my responses, how it makes me feel over time, the past few years, how I've begun to perceive politics. I've had the luxury of not having to be too involved in politics until there comes a point where really that's the responsible thing to do, to understand the world outside yourself. It's not just your own emotional response to it that's important. Events have meaning regardless of your response. And it's been a problem for me being so involved in this and having my perceptions of the situation, which was, the day after the election, I hope our democracy can survive. And then having those perceptions and then dealing with other people. I mean, we're at a time in America when it's the whole country dealing with where we are historically. And, Maybe I'm just expressing this obstacle. That's my obstacle of how to overcome this. And it requires a collective action. You realize, oh, there's nothing I can do by myself. I can take small actions, which I've had, writing letters to people in swing districts, go vote, or trying to be aware of what's going on around me. But I have limited, this is something you're talking about dealing, with our everyday lives and ourselves, but it's a much broader collective thing going on right now.
Yeah,
Wow.
just...
Sorry.
It's okay.
That's what I'm dealing with, folks.
No, these are, of course, issues which are very real for many people. If I could just answer in essence, of course, what's happening here is, if I can say, something new for the people of this nation, but also around the world there are, unprecedented things going on. And one of the things that helps me, and it's actually the second component of meaning, we looked at perspective, but the second thing which we didn't look at is called context. And that's the question, in which context do I see life? What does life mean to me? Is it a competition? Is it a war? Is it a business? Is it a prison? And the two contexts which help a lot to understand life is, one is life is a theater. Whether it's in what's happening in my life or it's happening on the global scene, we are currently passing through testing times. And we use the words, we are passing through a period of spiritual darkness. But it hasn't always been like this, and it will not always be like this. So first I must maintain my peace of mind, and what can I do to help to spread light into my world? I must remain undisturbed, at peace, and not just my actions, but also my words, my thoughts, my attitudes, spread light where there is darkness. Be the light, live the light. And I believe that making that kind of meaningful contribution is the best thing one can do, by being an example and helping the light in others to awaken as well. There's a longer answer to that question, but I need to make time for that. Thank you for asking. Okay.
We have another question? Yeah, oh, okay, all right. You're going to share, we have them written down then. So, I think we can maybe do two more, three more? And Tony, we have time for three more? Let's see. So, how to develop spiritual intelligence without being anxious about the why? Wow. Who asked this question? Raise your hand. Why was I born? What is the meaning of life, etc.? Yeah.
Yeah, these are important questions, and for that we invite you to the meditation lessons that we do here, in which we look at who am I, why am I here, the story of humanity, something called the law of karma. All these have to be explored properly, and that's what we do in the lessons here. So if it's new for you, then please do come and explore those questions together in the course that we do here. Okay.
Here's a good question. I could have written this question. Someone's asking, why does one feel anxious sometimes, despite being a meditator for greater than 20 years? Who asked this question? Yeah. Where? Dr. Nita Patel.
Yeah, it's a habit. I myself, sometimes I feel a bit nervous or anxious, and I think, where's this coming from? But it's just a habit of the mind, because the mind, it just has these habits we've developed over time, and it takes time to remove them. For example, if you want a street dog to live in your house, and if you say, okay, sit? Is it going to sit? No. You need to give it house training if you want it to live in your house. Same way the mind has developed some bad habits of overthinking, making a small thing big, worrying, etc. So with practicing meditation, practicing some of the things we discussed, those habits gradually reduce, and we find calmness and peace becoming a natural thing in our lives.
Thank you, Yogesh. So I said two more questions, but there's some really good ones here. How can I help my loved one who thinks he's not good enough and has social anxiety? Anyone on that question? Acha, okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, one is the words I speak to that person, but the other is the power of my attitude. You know, I think one of the greatest gifts we can give to each other is an attitude of respect, good wishes, positivity, helping someone to believe in themselves. It's my experience that, I've had the fortune of observing and being brought up with very highly spiritually mature people over the years. And there may have been a time when my own self-respect was low because of something, or didn't believe in myself. But these sort of senior yogis, their vision of me remained high, and in their company I was able to regain my self-respect. So your vision of another person can give them life, can give them hope, and we must maintain that. It's a non-verbal communication is my attitude and vision towards another person.
So here's a very genuine question here. How do I properly react or respond to complete injustice? Rape, child abuse or elderly abuse, violence. How do we respond to that and properly protect the vulnerable? Does anybody want? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, of course it's a big question and major issues. I always say there's always things on two levels. One is the care and the love and the protection for the individual, and it depends on the circumstances and where you are, what's available, what's possible for you. So that should happen. It can vary from place to place, but doing that. But the other thing, I think, is again on the spiritual level. And I believe the root causes of all of these things that we see in the world is that the human consciousness has become rather rotten, with uncontrolled desires and anger and fear and ego and so on. So I believe the short-term solution is to take care on the practical level. But in addition, I think I must be working on the spiritual level also to empower another person spiritually. And again, that can happen through my thoughts, through my vibrations. And I think one thing that's useful for anyone, wherever you live or wherever you go to work, is if you can do some meditation in the place where even somebody is recovering from such an experience, your meditation, your energy will help to give some peace and comfort to the victim, to the sufferer.
Can we ask one more? Yeah, one more, Yogesh?
Okay.
So, how to deal with the other person's jealousy towards me or yourself? Do nothing, or how to best handle that when a person tries to be bossy? Anybody want to answer this question?
Jealousy or bossy?
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah. Jealousy or bossy, which one? Yeah.
Or both?
Yeah, maybe both.
Well, if somebody's feeling jealous of you, then they are feeling insecure, And the thing to do is firstly to check your own self, your own attitude. I must not be affected negatively by that person's jealousy towards me. First, I must remain stable, and I need to give that other person a lot of good energy, which means positivity, kindness, a lot of love, a lot of acceptance, so they don't feel threatened by me. Yeah? And it's the same with somebody who's bossy or arrogant. Within a bossy or an arrogant person is a small child who is saying, I need some love, I need attention, I need respect. Yeah? And so if I am spiritually mature, I'll be able to share, without trying, I'll be able to share love, respect, kindness towards that person to fill them spiritually. The more secure they feel spiritually, then the less will be their bossiness or their jealousy. And again, I have observed this in these senior yogis I have seen over the years, how they see not just the behavior of a person, but the need of the soul behind that behavior. Yeah? Don't react to the behavior you don't like. See the need that the soul has. Fill that need, and notice how the behavior begins to change. Takes some time, but I think it's the only real solution.
Thank you, Yogesh. So please welcome to the stage a woman who needs no introduction, Sister Jenna, the director of the Meditation Museum.
Om Shanti. Good afternoon, everyone. Isn't he remarkable? You're remarkable. No, you're really remarkable. He's remarkable on many levels in terms of being able to really break it down very simply. The kind of work that we really can do in ourselves if we just start. I have to tell you a story about our garage that we attempted to clean out just last week. We weren't planning on cleaning out the garage, FYI. It started with a box. I was simply looking for one item in a box that happened to have been in the garage. And as I started with one box, I ended up with two boxes, and then I went, oh, and look over there, and that needs to go. Oh, I think we can keep that. And as a result of my sorting out the garage, I realized this is what our spirituality is about too. Sometimes we go inside of ourselves and it looks like just too much. I can't handle me. It's just too many little petty issues that I haven't addressed and I have completely disregarded, and my anxiety is out the roof. And when I turn inwards and I see me, I run. I'm scared. And I think that tonight's steps that you offered us gives us a chance to at least start with a box, right? If it's not your EQ or IC or IQ, EQ, IQ. Thank you. Okay. So I know it was one of the Q's or C's or D's or R or P or T, S, T, U, V. But even though Yogesh and I have been on our journey with the Brahma Kumaris and our love for God for quite a number of years, haven't you had times when you just you just got stuck too? So it's like, even if you've cleaned up the garage of the soul and you sorted out all the boxes, there's always stuff coming in. And can I tell you what the big joke was for me a few days after cleaning up half of the garage? Is that I realized that 90% of the stuff that was placed in our garage wasn't even mine. Don't you love that one? And I just thought to myself, I know the culprits that put these boxes and items in the garage, and they were in Peace Village having a wonderful retreat, and they were having a ball, and broke down spiritually that I believe we're taking on board a lot of people's issues. And as a result of taking on a lot of these issues, we have kept them. We've packaged them, we've locked them up. And so when we're cleaning up, sometimes it isn't just about me. It's that my error or my mistake or my lack of acuteness is that I took on board something that you were throwing out, not knowing that it would have weighed me down so much. So I think today's talk by Brother Yogesh on getting rid of the anxiety and really diving into developing your inner power has a lot to do with the way that we wake up and the way that we go to sleep, the way that we think about another person. As is my vision, so will be my world, right? Correct? So I just want to thank him again. It's been an absolute treat having you. I almost wish I could kidnap you. Confirmation. You know, Yogesh's visit to us was supposed to be about, I think, a week earlier than this date. And it turns out that him being here actually ended up on an auspicious day for us. 20 years ago, when I basically was first transferred here from New York, I had the fortune of hosting Dadi Prakashmani, who was the spiritual mentor and representative for the Brahma Kumaris. And we organized an event at the National Press Club where Brother David actually came into our vortex for the very first time. And Brother David was at the time the scheduler for the mayor, former mayor, Anthony Williams. Remember him? Wasn't he amazing? Yeah. And David, could you come up here just for a second? Because Yogesh and I have a little surprise for you. Because the first thing that transpired at the National Press Club was that David was in his role of presenting this proclamation to this woman that he couldn't pronounce her name from India. And it's going to be the day for peace, and it's good to have a day for peace. And the proclamation that David Howard presented to us on behalf of Mayor Anthony Williams on June 10th, 1999, and the original proclamation is right here. This is the same piece of paper we got 20 years ago. Whereas Dadi Prakashmani has committed herself to serve humanity and will meet with representatives of the White House, Congress, local and international community to discuss ways to promote peace in the world, and whereas the theme of her mission is reverence for peace and inspirational dialogue, and she is the recipient of the United Nations Peace Medal Award and Dharma Chakra Medal for humanitarian work for her tireless efforts in values and world peace. Whereas Dadi Prakashmani is the chief of the Brahma Kumaris organization, a non-profit working for positive change for all mankind, and oversees a wide range of educational programs in development of ethical, moral, and spiritual values. Whereas Dadi Prakashmani, whose name means Jewel of Light, also heads an international university that teaches the highest codes of values. Now, therefore, I, the Mayor of the District of Columbia, do hereby proclaim June 10th, 1999 as Dadi Prakashmani Day in Washington, D.C., a call upon all the residents of this great city to join me in honoring this outstanding individual who's an advocate of worldwide peace. So on the 10th of June, David was, on June 10th, David gave her the proclamation, and after that day, we have initiated 18 or 19 projects in the city, which some have become nationwide and some have become global, all because of the step of a pure human being that has not gone to waste, that purity has continued. And Yogesh and I wanted to present you a little gift. Do you mind? Okay. Yogesh?
It wasn't me who put that stuff in the garage. Unless it's a
It
Tesla
was.
under all these boxes.
Okay.
That will be mine.
Okay, good. Thank you. So, we do have lovely stories that we can share with you, but I think Yogesh's sharing was so provocative that I didn't really need to take us much further. But what I'd like to do is to at least take you just on a little journey with us, if you don't mind. Just imagine that if we can build our personalities to such an extent of generosity and kindness and purity because we have continuously offered our pure feelings for one another. And sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. It's your first box. Every day you go in to offer your pure feelings to somebody that's been unkind to you, unfair or unjust. It's as if you just don't want to dig in that box to really have pure feelings for them. But I can assure you that the minute you start, it starts to get easier. And I think when we look at examples like Dadi Prakashmani, just imagine this was our first time. It was right down here on Georgia Avenue in the old building. Can everybody see? I'm sorry. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, don't I look like just 16? My God, responsibility. Yeah, and so this was Dadi Prakashmani. And if you just see her presence and just the love in her eyes and her grace and her beauty. And this was our address at the National Press Clubs. This is all the same day. So this was her with Sister Kala, who is the director of the Peace Village Learning and Retreat Center. And I don't know how many of you remember the Nobel Peace Prize family. So this is Klaus Nobel of the Nobel Peace Prize, and he was the one who basically honored her and moderated the conversation along with a former Miss Universe, Lexi Brockway Potamkin. So it was a really significant event, and this is from 1999. Yogesh was asking me today, tell me what was your most significant event that you've had here. And I had to tell him, I don't remember, I don't know, because we've done so many amazing things. So just over the years, especially on Dadi Prakashmani Day, that's where the peace tree is. It's on Capitol Hill. If you ever go by the rear end of the Capitol, on the northeast side of where the reflection pool is, you'll see northwest, you'll see the peace tree. We also have a peace tree planted on the grounds of the Pentagon by where the daycare center is. So you'll also see an official Brahma Kumaris peace tree there. Turns out that even after 9/11, some of the soldiers and the contractors would go by the peace tree to meditate. Yeah. So envision a city of values. We had entered every embassy in Washington, asking them what value they brought to America from their country. It was an amazing initiative. During the shootings, anthrax, and a lot of things going on, an artist from Australia designed the image of the three worlds, which is the three levels of consciousness: We're here in the world of action, but we have to become more subtle in our feelings and have pure feelings and good wishes, that God's light is calling us all to become kind. And so everyone would look at this image and would share what their experience was. The Tree of Blessings, where we basically invited all the continents across the globe to send in their pure feelings for Washington, D.C. That was a time, again, I think this was a time of the anthrax, remember? And the government had shut down and there was all this chaos. And so we had collected so many blessings from around the world that we just knew that we were going to be okay. And that's the peace tree, so we had put the blessings on the peace tree and almost got arrested. It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. And one of our wonderful initiatives was during the Iraq War, because after 9/11 and so on, and so many things were going on, there were a lot of wars coming up. And for us in the Brahma Kumari movement, we just don't sit there and think and do nothing. From the pure thoughts and the touching from God the Supreme, we're inspired to put those pure thoughts into action, to see how we can create an experience in the lives of all of us so that we can be better citizens. So we decided to come up with designing kites with blessings and pure wishes for children in war-torn countries. So this is exactly what happened. So families and children came together here and in different parts of the country in the USA. They designed kites with artwork, blessings, quotations, and guess what? They were delivered to children in Iraq. We even have videos of the kids flying the kites. They were delivered to children in Georgia when Russia was taking Georgia over. And there was a beautiful case of an orphanage in which kids who had been orphaned by the war in Georgia at the time, and many who were handicapped, nobody wanted them. The kites ended up there and in a few other orphanages. And you could see the children holding the kites in the wheelchairs, flying those kites for peace that were donated by families and children from the United States of America. So to give you an idea of how every year, because of the pure thought of this soul, lives were touched on so many levels, I can't begin to explain. Dance for Peace was one of my favorite. What a beautiful picture, right? I think we hit the front cover of Washington Post. Remember in the Metro section? We hit the front page of the Metro section here with this image. Children in communities, especially in cities, dancing is quite an expression. And I know that recently in the last 3-4 years I've heard this thing called twerking, which I found very interesting. But back in this time, it was a little bit different. And I was thinking about, is there a dance that youths could come up with that would actually initiate some silence or peace? So we went into cities and we asked the children, can you choreograph a dance that would stimulate an energy of peace? So after 2 or 3 attempts, there were some dance moves, but we were like getting ready to boogie ourselves. So we were like, is there a way there's another movement? And sure enough, there was this beautiful, beautiful display of dancers from all over. We even had a dance group from Colombia that came and danced for peace. And it was a really, really good story. So what we did, we inspired individuals to recognize that you can still have fun, you can still engage in social activities with each other, and you can bring peace into it. And so Dancing for Peace did that. So we went on the 10-year festival. We put all of the programs together. We did Just a Minute, where we asked individuals to pause for just a minute around the country. And this is where America Meditating started in 2012. We invited people all over America to pause at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. for peace. And then it became a global sensation. Do you remember the Boston bombing? Remember the bombing in the Boston Marathon? So on this particular initiative, we decided to do the meditation marathon in honor of what took place in Boston, and so that we could continue to have a marathon of meditative thoughts, so we can push out this negative vibration that people are bringing into our lives. So that was an extremely beautiful initiative which collected thoughts from people all across the country. And then Karma Cafe took us to coffee shops and community centers, and we had engaged in about maybe 5 or 10 life questions. Questions like, who are you? What is consciousness? Who is God? How do you deal with somebody who's not respectful or kind to you? And this was bringing strangers together to talk at a higher level when they were out in public, rather than to go through, so what do you do for a living? How much money do you make? What's your san? You know, so we wanted to take the conversation much higher so that we can begin to stimulate real relationships. So that was our Karma Cafe, and then we started to have the meditation bus. We went around, we initiated Meditate the Vote, so that individuals would be conscientious about the vote that they would cast. At the time, as you can see, they did really well. And we celebrated our 20th year of service for the Brahma Kumaris at MGM. We did not gamble. We didn't put a quarter in the slot. But we did have a wonderful time, and we had the beautiful Sister Shivani with us to celebrate our 20 years of service in Washington. So that was our initiative, and we had a really wonderful and packed audience. That's a Troublemakers behind the scene. And, you know, because of them, so much is happening, and I just wanted to take you on the journey of 20 years. Thank you. And it leads me to our latest initiative. As you know, we've become a society of, we're pretty isolated, but we feel very connected due to social media. And social media somehow gives us this virtual reality that we have a lot of friends, but we don't necessarily have a lot of people to turn to. In the Brahma Kumaris, we believe a lot in the human connection. We believe in being there for each other when you're up and when you're down, when you're good and when you're bad. We need to see you. We need to know you, you know, and that's important to us. So as I look further down in, you know, envisioning where we're going, and even the founder of the Brahma Kumaris had a vision that the world will be changing very drastically. And what we call algae, you remember algae? It's the acronym I use all the time. So what we call algae, A for anger, L for lust, G for greed, A for attachment, E for ego, that's about to end. That's going to get destroyed. Now the thing is, if that emotion and quality is recorded in my personality, and I'm owning that personality, that might affect me, and that might increase my fear factor. So one of the things that we'd like to initiate on this 20th initiative for Dadi Prakashmani Day is that we would like us to start to be friends, to begin to say hello to someone you don't know, to someone that's different from you, to be curious, to find out what's going on in their hearts, to understand their interpretation of God and not knock it down and accept that's theirs, but then also give me permission to share mine. And maybe we might grow in each other's understanding of who this great energy is that we all need so desperately. So some of the tips about the initiative, it's entitled Say Hello to Your Neighbor. So now you can say hello to the person next to you or behind you or to you across the room. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. Hey. Yeah. And doesn't that feel good? Yes. Yeah. So how do you feel when you say hello to somebody and they're miserable, like what Yogesh says, do not bother me today? Then you go high, low, louder, right? You go hello, so that you can get access to their consciousness. You know, sometimes when I might be in an off mood, I tell everybody in the family, I'll tell them, today I don't feel so good, so I just need your support. And I just love the way the whole family comes around me and helps me through it. Instead of me, in my state, making them feel uncomfortable, I think I give the family permission to know, today's just not a good day for me, so I just need your help. And that just somehow diffuses everything. So I think that when we we begin to incorporate practicing this, there's some ideas. Definitely you can share this message of saying hello to your neighbor. You can bless your neighbor with your pure feelings and good wishes, and you don't have to say it with your lips. Say it with your mind. Especially the neighbor that turns up the music really late at night. I bless them. Especially when they're playing Drake or Kanye or Little Sense, or you notice nobody plays like Engelbert Humperdinck at 12 o'clock at night. Why is that? My sweet sister is wondering, who's Engelbert Humperdinck? She's like, so you can also visit another person's office in your building, or send them flowers, or send them sweets. You can share a note of good wishes with a colleague at work. We recommend that you can attend an event that is different than one in which you're accustomed to. This is something we like to do. Mail a card to your neighbor. And what we do with some of ours, we put a blessing in the card. Just wanted you to know that we're in your neck of the woods. I'm participating in this initiative. And I just want you to know that I'm here. And if you need anything, let me know. You know? And smile a little more. Especially when you're in an elevator. Today we were in an elevator with, about 10, 15 people. And somebody had pressed all the buttons. So I just turned to everybody in the elevator and go, this is going to be a long journey. How is everyone? Because I was remembering my initiative. Say hello to your neighbor. That was it. And so come up with a wonderful way. Feel free to come up with new ways to share with your friends. And something that I like, but of course you have to be mature about it. Invite your neighbor over for tea or juice, just to be aware. But in other words, just be curious. Who's next door? Who lives next door? And please post and share some of your experiences on our Meditation Museum Facebook. We don't want anything complicated. It's very simple. If you happen to be at a dinner or a tea with a friend, and you just snap a picture and just say, I said hello to my neighbor. That's it. Hashtag, share it. That's it. We don't need a lot of millions of dollars to create awareness. We just need awareness. Okay? So on this day, I thank you for your support and respect, for the work that has been ushered through our team and our commitment of our family and community for so long. I thank you for joining us on the journey. But I believe between Yogesh, myself, Brother David, it is our pure wish and pure desire that you make your mind and your life so strong that nothing shakes you and takes you on the other side, which is the side of negativity, the side of hate, the side of separation, racism, division, anger. It's time for us to step into who we really are and not waste this very valuable thing that we call life. So thank you so very much. Thank you so, so much. And happy Daddy's Day today.
Thank you, Sister Jenna. Thank you, Yogesh. What a wonderful, wonderful program. And hello, neighbor. Hello, neighbor. So, wasn't that a great program? Yes. Guess what? You can watch it again. It's going to be posted on Meditation Museum, our YouTube channel. So just search Meditation Museum on YouTube, and it's also on Facebook Live on our Facebook page. So you can watch it and really take detailed notes on Yogeshbhai's presentation there. A few things to mention to you. You have a sheet of paper in your chair that lists all of our upcoming events at the Meditation Museum. And one I want to point out to you in particular, this Thursday, June 13th, we have a special program here at 6:30 p.m. Sister Jenna is going to be leading us in a meditation called Bouncing Back Stronger. So this is really something special. We do a lot of workshops and programs here at the Meditation Museum. This, I think, is going to be a little different, isn't it, Sister Jenna? It's going to be more of a meditation focus that day. So please come join us for something really special. June 13th, that's this Thursday, and you can register for that online.
I'd like to request those that might be leaving to just pause for just a minute. We have a gift to give everyone, and Reverend Ivy has come to sing a very special song before we go.
Wonderful. So, very quickly then, you have this card in your chair, and I love this card. Take a look at this card. This card is very special. And not just what's on this side, though, on this side too. And we invite you to download the Pause for Peace app. How many have downloaded the Pause for Peace app? Wow, that's great. The Pause for Peace app has wonderful things on it. Has meditation music, a guided meditation. Sister Jenna did a series for the Huffington Post newspaper called Meditation Tips, and you can get that on the Pause for Peace apps. And also links to all of our upcoming events and the American Meditating Radio Show. How many have heard the radio show? Yeah. And guess who was on the radio show today? Yogesh was on the radio show today. So, yeah. So check it out. It's an online radio show, AmericanMeditating.org, and it's on all the major online radio channels. And there's over 1,000 shows posted now. And so you can choose whatever show interests you. You know, you can just watch what you're interested in. And there's great things on there like Yogesh's interview. And also India Ari, Russell Simmons was on the show. Alanis Morissette was on the show. Really great guests who talk about their meditation experience or their spiritual journey. So check it out, AmericanMeditating.org. And this museum, you know, we don't charge for any of our events here at the museum. And if you want to support the museum, you can support with your donation in the donation boxes on the reception desk or in the shoe room. And we even have that dip jar thing. You just put your card in there, and it will donate $10 in one fell swoop to the museum. Finally, we have a book sale going on back in the gift shop there. There's a 50% off book sale, and we have a special package for Sister Jenna's two of her CDs. We have Off the Grid and Inclusion Revolution, and you can get the set for $10.99. Inclusion Revolution is really special. It's something really different. It's not like a meditation CD that you would imagine. She did it with a hip hop artist. Yeah.
It's about inclusion, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
And so it's a kind of, you can listen to this. You could listen to this to have a meditative experience while you're, walking in the park, or maybe even while you're working out.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's great for that. It's
Yeah.
on the move meditation.
Yeah. So check out the two CDs there.
Thank you.
And Sister Jenna, I just want to say I'm really, really glad that the next initiative is not twerking for peace.
No, it won't
A
be.
little scared there for a second.
It won't be. Thank you, Brother David.
Yes. Thank you again, Sister Jenna.
You see, we
and-
have a sense of humor, guys. Really.
Yeah.
Meditators have a wicked sense of humor. It's been our pleasure, Brother David, and thanks again for all of your service. Really.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For the past few years, I've had the privilege of growing in spirit with this wonderful next presenter up on the stage, the great Reverend Ivy Hilton. Well, it's the Reverend Dr. Ivy Hilton. Let me give credit where it's due. And she's about to launch a really important process of her life, which is called Vibronics, which is about the healing of the self through sound, and through music, through voice. And on occasions when I get the fortune of having her voice present in the room, I can assure you, everyone here, you're going to feel totally at peace. You're going to feel some resonance in your system. That's just a spirit that she carries in her being. And so it gives me great privilege to welcome the wonderful Reverend Dr. Ivy Hilton, who's going to take us into a sound healing, and is not only into a lot of work with empowering youths and motivational speaking, music, just a lot of work. She's also working with mothers, with incarcerated youths, and really dealing with individuals how to overcome this awful tragedy that many go through. But she is a woman of grace and strength and beauty, and it gives me honor to welcome Dr. Hilton.
Thank you, Sister Jenna. Isn't this a beautiful space? And thank you so much. Words of life-giving energy. So I'm going to share a piece of work that I'm currently working on, and it's still a work in progress, but I thought it would be a very powerful experience in preparation of the deep meditation that Sister Dr. Jenna will take us into shortly. Santos is going to play a track for me.
Santosh, can you play the track?
And
Is
I'm
it
going to
number 2?
invite everyone
Is it number 2?
to Om for me.
Okay.
Om. I begin to let go. Can you turn it up just a little for me, Santos? I begin to let go. At the center of my core is a well of love. I receive that love as I'm letting go. Letting go. I feel the presence. I feel on high, and I'm letting go. I'm letting go. Letting go. I feel the presence filling my soul. My soul is glad, and I feel the presence of peace. I feel the presence, and my soul is glad. Deep peace dwells within me. Deep peace dwells inside of me. My soul is glad. I'm at peace with myself. I am lotus light. I am lotus light. I am in deep peace. Om Shanti.
I think it's, thank you. I think it's worth us just honor, got it, Portia, got it. I think it was worth that, just going, that was the meditation, wasn't it? Yes. So what I'd like us to do is, Brother Yogesh has brought some special blessings from Turkey, which he will distribute by an artist. There's an artist artwork on the back, and the blessing is on the front. And the sisters made a special treat for you today. So we're going to invite you to come up and collect a blessing from Brother Yogesh and a treat from me. And may I request that we sort of keep the atmosphere at peace, the way that Dr. Ivy has just left us into this space, and to see how we can keep rippling that energy in the walls outside, in our car, and when we get it home, okay? All right. Santosh, could you play those songs that we were playing today, if it's possible, Santosh?
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Tu es l'image de Dieu.
I hold you in my heart.
Tu es l'image de l'amour.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Tu sei la luce di Dio.
I hold you in my heart.
Tu sei il volto dell'amore.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of God. The face of God. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are a part of me. A part of me. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God.
Eres la luz de Dios.
I hold you in my heart.
Eres la cara del amor.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of
sei la luce di Dio.
You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face
Tu
of
es
God.
l'image de Dieu.
You are the